The earth was once host to an extraordinary generation, the Nephilim, children of the fallen Watchers. Their immense forms brought not wonder, but chaos, for their appetites were boundless and their deeds corrupt. Yet even these arrogant giants were capable of dread. One among them, Ohia, dreamt of an ancient tablet being submerged, save for 3 small columns. His brother, Haya, then dreamt of a garden where towering trees were uprooted, leaving only 3 roots remaining. Plagued by these visions of impending doom, they chose Mayway, the fleetest of their kind, to seek the one man who still walked with the divine, Enoch. Mawai traversed the desolate lands carrying their plea for intercession. But the heavens had already spoken. Enoch, with a sorrowful hand, penned the final verdict. Their violence and unlawful union had sealed their fate. Their time upon the world was nearing its inevitable, watery end. In the shadowed valleys of pre-flood Earth, where the air hummed with secrets older than the stars, the Watchers, those towering sons of heaven, first descended like thunder wrapped in mist. Their wings, vast as storm clouds, brushed against the winds, carrying sparks of divine fire that scorched the ground below. Led by Shemihaza, a giant with eyes like molten gold and a voice that echoed like distant avalanches, they craved the fragile beauty of mortal women. Why hoard eternity alone? He rumbled to his brethren, his breath frosting the air with celestial chill. The others, Azazel, Barakel, Kokabel, and a horde of 20 more, nodded, their armor of iridescent scales gleaming under the pale sun. They chose the daughters of men, sleek and fleeting as autumn leaves, and from those unions sprang the Nephilim, hybrids of storm and flesh whose roars shook mountains. But the giants grew restless. Born of forbidden desire, they towered over the land like living cathedrals, their muscles coiling like serpents under skin etched with glowing runes from their father's realm. The eldest, Ohiu and Mahaway, brothers with hair like tangled vines and fangs that dripped with the essence of stars, roamed the earth, devouring herds whole and smashing villages into dust for sport. Father's power courses in our veins, Oya boasted one dawn, as they lounged by a crimson river that bubbled with the blood of crushed beasts. His shadow alone blotted out the sun, casting endless night on the terrified survivors below. Mahaway, slighter but slyer, laughed, his voice a gravelly whisper that slithered through the trees. Yet dreams plague us, brother, visions of chains, of fire from above. Those dreams were harbingers, sent by the ancient council of angels who watched from the hidden peaks of Ararat. Enoch, the scribe of heaven, whose feet barely touched the earth as he walked, received scrolls from the Most High. In a cavern lit by ethereal flames that danced without consuming, Enoch inscribed warnings. The giants' sins weigh heavy. The earth groans under their feet. They feast on the marrow of creation, breeding monsters that devour their own. Terrified, yet defiant, the brothers sought counsel. They journeyed to the abyss where fallen angels lurked, their forms now twisted. Azazel, once proud, now a hulking brute with horns curling like storm clouds, eyes flickering with regret. "What ails you, sons of my folly?" Azazel growled, his cave echoing with the drip of ichor from wounded skies. Oya recounted the dreams, his massive hands trembling as he crushed boulders absent-mindedly. Mahaway added, "We slew angels in our youth, drank their blood for strength. Is this retribution?" Azazel sighed, a sound like crumbling mountains. The Book of Remembrance records all. Your fathers taught forbidden arts, metals forged in thunder, spells to unravel time. The Creator stirs. But even he, in his arrogance, mocked the warnings. Build arks? For what? We are eternal. Meanwhile, across the fractured plains, other giants stirred. Gilgamesh, no, not the king of old tales, but a descendant, broader than redwoods, with a mane like wildfire, gathered a council in a valley ringed by obsidian cliffs. His voice boomed like an earthquake. "Dreams or not, we rule. The Watchers gave us this might. Why cower?" Yet doubt festered. Hobabish, A cunning giantess with skin of polished jade and claws that could rend lightning whispered schemes. She birthed horrors in hidden lairs. Beasts with eyes of flame, wings of shadow, devouring farms and birthing more abominations. If heaven strikes, she hissed to her offspring, we'll feast on the rains themselves. The dreams intensified, painting vivid horrors. Oya awoke one night to see phantoms, spirits of the drowned, their faces bloated and pleading, clawing at his ankles. "Repent," they moaned, voices bubbling like mud. He fled to Mahaway, who clutched a fragment of heavenly tablet stolen from Enoch's cache. Etched in light that burned the eyes, it foretold. Noah, the righteous one, builds a vessel. 40 nights of deluge will cleanse the stain. The brothers raged, smashing peaks into powder, but fear gnawed. "What of us?" Mahaway pleaded to the stars. Enoch appeared then, ethereal in the moonlight, his robes woven from whispers of the void. "Turn from wrath," he urged, his words weaving through the air like silk threads. But Ohia, pride unbroken, lunged, only for Enoch to vanish like mist, leaving echoes. The giants fall, but from their bones spring tales of might and ruin. Enraged, the brothers summoned the fallen ones for battle. Azazel taught them war arts, swords of meteor iron that sang when swung, shields from dragonhide that deflected divine bolts. Battles erupted, giants clashing with lesser angels, rivers running red with immortal blood, skies cracking like eggshells. Yet the signs mounted. Animals fled mountains, birds wheeled in frantic spirals, the ground quaked as if breathing its last. Gilgamesh dreamed of water, vast and black, swallowing all. Hobabish's lairs flooded unnaturally, her spawn drowning in ironic floods. Oya and Mahaway, haunted, sought Noah in his secret valley. There, amid hammering wood and tar's sharp scent, the man, small, weathered, with eyes like calm seas, hammered planks under starlit vigilance. "Why build?" Oya thundered, his footfall splintering earth. Noah paused, sweat glistening, and replied softly, "To save what the Creator deems worthy. Your path ends in fire and wave." Desperation peaked. The giants plotted, sabotage the ark, slay Noah. But dreams returned fiercer. Visions of themselves chained in Tartarus, flames licking eternally. Kokabel, a watcher gone mad, revealed, the Most High has sealed the fates. Enoch's book is final. Panic spread like wildfire. Giants devoured mountains in fury, but exhaustion crept in, their stolen divinity waning. As dawn broke one fateful morning, the first raindrop fell, heavy as lead, sizzling on stone. Then another. The sky wept, rivers swelled, devouring valleys. Oya and Mahaway climbed peaks, roaring defiance as waters rose. "Brothers!" Mahaway cried, gripping Oya's arm slick with rain. "The end!" But Oya, unyielding, hurled himself at the storm, only to be swallowed by a wave that tasted of salt and stars. Hobabish fled to caves, her claws scraping futilely. Gilgamesh clung to cliffs, bellowing hymns of power until a torrent ripped him free. The world drowned in 40 nights' fury. Earth's wounds washed clean, yet echoes lingered. Bones of giants became mountains, their roars turned to thunder. Dreams birthed legends. In quiet moments when rains patter softly, listen. You might hear whispers from the deep, tales of might unbound and fates unforgiven. And so the flood receded, leaving Noah's ark on gentler shores. But the story, it never truly ends. Fragments surface in scrolls, in dreams, reminding us of hubris's cost. Tzadka unrolled the parchment beside the flickering fire. The flames danced across the faded gaze script, letters that seemed to writhe like living things under her gaze. Her companions, 3 monks with beards white as salt and hands scarred from years of copying sacred words, leaned in, breath held. Tzadka began to read aloud, her voice low and steady, carrying the weight of centuries. And behold, in those days the sons of the Watchers dreamed dreams of terror. As she spoke, the lake beside them rippled though no wind stirred. The stars above seemed to lean closer, as if listening. One monk, Brother Johannes, traced the air with trembling fingers, whispering, "The giants, they still walk in dreams." Sadka continued, translating the ancient words into the tongue of the firelight. Oya spoke to Mahaway, his brother, saying, "I saw a great tablet fall from heaven, and upon it were written the names of all who would perish in the waters. Our names burned brightest." And Mahaway answered, "Then we must seek the dreamer Enoch, for he alone reads the writing of God." A sudden gust swept through the camp, scattering embers like fleeing spirits. The parchment fluttered in Tzadka's hands, and for a heartbeat the script seemed to glow, faint blue fire racing along the lines. Brother Johannes gasped. "Did you see?" "I saw," Tzadka said quietly. She rolled the fragment carefully, tucking it into a leather tube sealed with wax. "These words are not dead. They wait. Far to the north, in the highlands where ancient churches are carved from living rock, another fragment lay hidden beneath the altar of Debri Damo. A young deacon named Kedane had found it years ago, wedged between stones older than Solomon. He kept it secret, reading it only by candlelight, terrified of what it revealed. Lists of giant names, Ohya, Hahya, Ahiram, Sumukan, each followed by the same terrible judgment, bound until the day of slaughter. One night, Kedane dreamed he stood on a mountain of bones. Ohya towered before him, no longer flesh but shadow wearing flesh, eyes like dying suns. The giant reached out, not in threat but pleading. "Tell them," Ohya rumbled, voice shaking the dream world. "Tell them we knew regret." Kedane awoke, screaming. The next morning, he began copying the fragment, adding his own note in the margin. Even the Nephilim wept. Mercy is deeper than the abyss. Back by the lake, Tzadka rose before dawn. The parchment tube hung heavy at her side as she watched the sun bleed gold across the water. "We carry more than ink and skin," she told her companions. "We carry warning, and perhaps hope." For in the final lines of the Ethiopian fragments, buried deepest, there is a whisper not of destruction alone. "And after the great cleansing, the earth brought forth new grass, and the bones of the giants became hills where children play. And some say that in the laughter of those children echoes the sorrow of the fallen, transformed, not ended." Tzadka smiled faintly at the horizon. The story never truly ends. It only waits for new voices.